welcome to our special show, Living Long and Healthy with COVID Vaccination. I'm Gargi Rawat. Now, this show seeks to address the concerns that you may have regarding the COVID vaccination and living in this new normal, because the risk of COVID infections, remember, continues as cases are rising, and vaccinations is the only way to protect yourself. Well, today we have with us experts to address any concerns and queries you may have about the vaccines. Joining us today, we have Dr. Satish Vasuri, Senior Consultant, Endocrinology, Diabetes at Paras Hospital, Gurugram. Dr. Jabir Abdullakutti, a Senior Consultant, Cardiologist at the Lycee Hospital, Kochi. And Dr. Nandita Arun, Director Consultant, Diabetologist at the Dr. A. Ramachandran's Diabetes Hospital in Chennai. Thank you so much, doctors, for taking our time to answer all our questions. And Dr. Satish, I'd like to start with you. What are the common complications in women with diabetes? And this is especially important during this COVID times.
The first major complication in women is cardiovascular problems, which include coronary artery disease with chest pain, angina, heart attack, stroke, and narrowing of arteries, which is called arteriosclerosis. However, diabetes is different in women if you consider than in men. It increases the risk of heart diseases by about 4% in comparison to men, which is 2 times only. Women have also high risk of diabetes-related complications like diabetic kidney disease, nephropathy, neuropathy, retinopathy. Diabetes can make it harder to get pregnant. So women with diabetes have to manage more, stay on track, checking their blood pressure, often eating healthy foods and being active so that they can be healthiest and feel the best.
All right, thank you for that. And Dr. Jabir, if we talk about people with heart problems, why should people with heart disease or who've had a heart attack or stroke go ahead and get the vaccine? Is it safe for them?
Heart disease patients are the patients who are more prone to develop this disease. And once they develop the disease, they are at a higher risk of complications. So an adverse or a bad outcome following a COVID-19 infection, a COVID virus infection has been found to be high in patients with heart disease, especially patients with atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. That means for a common man, a patient who had a heart attack or who are prone to develop heart attack. Second is patients whose cardiac function is less. That means patient in heart failure. Patients with a adult patient with a congenital heart disease, that means a heart disease by birth. So these are all patients. When they develop a COVID infection, they are likely to develop more complications. All the data across the world have shown that these patients with heart disease, when they contract a COVID-19 infection, their in-hospital death is high. Their mortality, one study has shown that their mortality is, when heart disease patients develop COVID infection, their in-hospital mortality was 30% when compared to 6% in those without a heart disease. So this is a priority group. The American Heart Association has come out with a document who are the prioritized group for COVID vaccination. And patients with heart disease is the priority group because they are at higher risk of development of complications and death following a COVID infection. So they should be prioritized to get the vaccination.
All right, and all of them should go ahead and get vaccinated if eligible. Dr. Nandita, coming back to the issue of people with diabetes, can people on insulin get the vaccine safely? Is there anything they need to watch out for?
Absolutely. The answer to that question is absolutely. They must and they should. So this is a very relevant question that you asked, because these are the kind of calls and questions and doubts that we are getting. As a diabetologist, I'm faced with almost every day. So patients have doubts about whether if they're on not just insulin, but even if they're on tablets or just simply because they have diabetes, whether they can take the vaccine or not. And my answer to that question is that anybody and everybody who is eligible, an adult who is not a child itself, is eligible for the vaccine. We are in the middle of a vaccine drive. And as you rightly put, this is the only way out of this pandemic that we are in the middle of. And absolutely every person should get vaccinated. Being a diabetic, your risk of COVID infection is probably even higher. And insulin specifically does not have any interaction or sort of difficulties that you're going to face if you take the vaccine. So absolutely, you should go ahead and take the vaccine. People with diabetes, whether they're on insulin or not, or even people without diabetes for that matter, should be taking the vaccine.
Dr. Satish, let's talk about disease management and tell us about diabetes and hypertension management changes.
So coming to the, during this COVID pandemic, yes, we need to manage hypertension, and blood glucose should be kept in the range. So if we consider hypertension, it is present in more than 50% of patients with diabetes. So what we need to do is we need to monitor the blood pressure routinely check the sugars. We need to ask the patients to monitor blood pressure at home, because there is a syndrome which is called white coat hypertension. When they see a doctor, their blood pressure goes up. So we need to ask the patients monitor it at home and individualize the patient treatment system. That is, for diabetes and hypertension patients, blood glucose and blood pressure needs to be individualized through shared decision-making process. We need to address the cardiovascular risk, chronic kidney disease risk. So if we're coming to the goals, what should be the blood pressure goals? It should be less than 130/80. For the individual who have low cardiovascular, it's 140/90. In pregnant women, it's 135/85. This is, I'm talking of the blood pressure goals. Now coming to the blood glucose goals, it is the HbA1 should be kept less than 7, and the fasting less than 100, and postprandial less than 140 milligram deciliter.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Dr. Jabir, we spoke about people on insulin getting the vaccine. A lot of people also questioning about people on blood thinners going ahead and getting that vaccine. Are there any concerns there?
Oh, very, very, very pertinent question, because every day I'm getting questions. My patients come and ask, some telephones and ask, sir, I'm on the blood thinners, because a large majority, more than 90% of my patients are on these blood thinners. So they ask, can I take this vaccine? Can I, especially there are two groups of people who are on different type of blood thinners. One is the common heart attack, or patients who are prone to develop heart attack, who had an angioplasty done or who had a bypass done. They are on a group of drugs called antiplatelet agents, or the commonly used blood thinners. Second is patients who are on anticoagulants. So this prevents clot formation, especially patients who are on artificial valves, patients who had a clot in blood vessels, a clot in the heart chamber. So these are group of patients who are on anticoagulants, which these drugs are much more potent than the common blood thinners like aspirin you use to produce a bleeding. So what is the concern? The concern is you are giving an injection into the muscle. So the COVID injection is given as an intramuscular injection, usually in the deltoid, that is your upper arm, the shoulder muscle. So can it produce a bleed? If the needle by accident hits a blood vessel, it can produce a bleed. But this risk is extremely low, and we are using, right now we are using very thin and sharp needles, which is extremely unlikely to produce a blood vessel injury in that area, which is of concern. Which is, so there is, for aspirin and other antiplatelet agents, so the heart attack people take, the blood thinners, the heart attack people take, there is no need of any change in the drug. They can go ahead and straight away go ahead and get the vaccination done. The other anticoagulation group, there is a concern, but in those group of people who are getting the vaccination, one precaution is a little more compression at the injection site for maybe for 10 minutes or so. That will prevent this problem of what you call a little bleeding out if it touches the blood vessel, a little bleeding out into the muscle. And the risk of this is extremely low, and the benefit outweighs by many ways than the risk, and so there is no need of any change, and in my opinion patients can go straight away and get their vaccination done. No need to worry about this blood thinners.
All right, yes, that's a very common question, given especially that the elderly are getting the vaccines right now. Dr. Nandita, about coming back to people with diabetes, will the vaccine affect them in any way? Will it affect their blood sugar levels? Is there something they need to watch out for there?
Sure. So absolutely not is the best way to answer that question. I can't just leave it at that, because there are a couple of things, and probably a couple of reasons why patients are concerned about this. Before I answer the question as to whether the vaccine can affect the blood sugar, patients also have this doubt, because we get calls about this every day. So patients also ask whether they need to check their blood glucose levels before getting the vaccine. And the answer to that question is you do not. You can, of course, check your blood sugar level. You're always welcome to do that, because we want your blood glucose to be under good control, irrespective of whether you're getting a vaccine or not. But it is not a mandatory, or it is not one of the criteria that your blood glucose should be under control before you do get the vaccine, number one. Number two, the reason why people have these doubts about whether the vaccine can increase your blood glucose levels is for two reasons. So the vaccine actually is a blueprint of a fragment of the virus, right? And when we get injected with the vaccine, this fragment is going to go into our blood circulation, and this fragment of the virus, or it's actually a blueprint, like I mentioned, it's going to go into your system and trigger an immunogenic response. This immune response is what leads to the formation of antibodies, and these antibodies, which are formed in your blood circulation, is what is going to protect you from a COVID infection in the future. So this vaccine and those fragments that I was talking about are actually stabilized by addition of a small, very, very minor amount of glucose and a little amount of salt that is added to it. So this is the reason why patients are concerned. Maybe they've read this somewhere. This is somewhere in the information that you have. But people wonder whether that little amount of glucose which is there, number one, and whether that immune response, these two both put together, can actually increase your blood glucose. And the answer to that question is that it does not. So you need not worry about this. We are in the middle of a vaccination drive now. People are getting vaccinated every day in large numbers all over the world and in our part of the world in India. And we have not seen any patients with, increased blood glucose levels due to the vaccine. So you can go ahead and you're absolutely safe with taking the vaccine, and you must take it.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And I'm sure that's cleared a lot of doubts among our viewers. With that, time for us to slip into a short break. We'll return with more. Stay with us. Welcome back to our special show, Living Long and Healthy with COVID Vaccination, where our panel of doctors are answering any doubts that you may have. And Dr. Jabir, I'd like to come to you. One of the questions we do get is about women who are pregnant. So it's someone who is pregnant or is breastfeeding currently. Can they go ahead and get the vaccine safely?
The data available is we never had a vaccine trial which specifically tested in the pregnant or the lactating mothers. And in fact, many of the clinical trials, pregnant patients and lactating women are usually excluded. That is all major clinical trials, pregnant women and lactating females are usually excluded. Here, there is some data from Massachusetts. What they have looked at is in one of their vaccination trials, there were pregnant patients. There were what I remember is some 80 patients were pregnant, some 16 or 20 patients were lactating females. What they could find was there was no adverse events, no serious adverse events or any problem, and the antibody development was as equal as that of non-pregnant females. And in fact, when pregnant females were vaccinated, they could pass on some of the antibody to their babies also. So the babies also can have some protection from this vaccine. The problem is with a live virus vaccine, which can induce infection, and that infection can be carried over to the baby. But we don't have a live virus vaccine, so no need to worry about it. So what is the foreign recommendations or the European or American recommendations? The Royal College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, their recommendation is basically, it is a discussion between the pregnant and the lactating female and their care providers, and looking at two important aspects. One, what is their exposure risk? If the lady is at a high exposure risk, like a healthcare worker or a forefront worker in the field of COVID prevention or something, then their exposure to the exposure risk is quite high, and it is a personal choice there is no contraindication as such. Then a patient who is pregnant and is at high risk of developing problems if they develop a COVID infection, like pregnant patients with a heart disease, pregnant patients who are diabetic, pregnant patients who have multiple comorbidities. So these are patients who are likely to have a high problem or a bad outcome after a COVID infection. So there also a vaccination is will be really helpful, and it's a choice of the pregnant female, and this after a discussion with the health worker. This is almost the same recommendation from the Americans. But when the vaccine was introduced in India, the India government recommendation is right now vaccination should not be given for pregnant and lactating females in view of the fact that we don't have a data or a safety data on the use of this vaccine in pregnant females and lactating females. That's the current situation. This may change, we don't know. So people are all looking at data coming across the world, and especially there are now new trials coming up in which where vaccination is being tried in pregnant females and lactating mothers. So this the current recommendation of the India government may change in the future. We don't know, but this is the current recommendation.
Dr. Nandita, if we can again come back to people with diabetes, and you spoke about insulin levels and blood sugar levels. Is it important for them to also check with their doctors regarding their medication before going in for the vaccination?
Not necessarily, Gargi. So people with diabetes, as I mentioned earlier, are more vulnerable to COVID infection, and once infected with the COVID virus, the outcomes are also worse in people with diabetes. So it is extremely important. They are a priority group. People with diabetes, heart disease, these are all priority groups who must get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect themselves from the COVID infection. None of the anti-diabetic drugs, none of the medication actually interfere with the vaccine as such. The common side effects that patients do sometimes experience is probably a mild headache, body pain. They could have mild fever. And this, if at all, usually this is very, very uncommon. Most people are absolutely fine after taking the vaccine. But if you do have a mild fever or a headache or any sort of symptoms like a body pain, just we tell patients to just take a paracetamol tablet and maybe just 1 day's rest, and you'll be back up to work. So absolutely nothing to worry about.
Dr. Satish, finally, should someone with a history of allergies go ahead and get the vaccine?
I will first speak of the who should not be getting the vaccine. Is if you have severe allergy to first COVID shot, or allergy to any vaccine, or allergy to any COVID ingredient, COVID vaccine ingredient. These people should not be going for the vaccination. Otherwise, if a patient is allergic to, say, injectables, injectable medication, he should be going for a vaccination. Allergies to food, pet, venom, environmental or latex, he or she should be going for the vaccination. And any history of oral medication, any allergies to oral medication, should go for the vaccination. And probably all categories except these who have severe allergy to first shot of COVID vaccine or allergy to any vaccine.
All right. Well, thank you so much, doctors, for taking out your time and answering all those questions. And the message is very clear. Go ahead and get the vaccine if you're currently eligible. It's the only way we're going to defeat this pandemic. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.